Guys, Luuk is coming out in less than a day, and that means we already know everything about it. So let's get right into the video and see how strong he's gonna be. Let's go! So Luuk person. Here finally we have all of his abilities, all of how he works, but we already knew this because you can actually play him during the story when you are fighting the boss that you used to level up Aemeath. As always, there is a huge amount of text. We can go over it, but I don't think it's worth it, so let me explain you a bit how he works. Luuk is basically a gauntlets user. He's an Spectro main DPS, and he is gonna scale off basic attack damage. This, we're gonna see later, has really good stuff and at the same time bad stuff. But let's start with the most important thing. How does he work? And I'm not gonna go that much in depth into it. His gameplay revolves around building something that's called Ichor Flow, using normal attacks, using skills, etc. Once you have enough, what he does is he enters a special state which increases the damage of his normal attacks and his mid-air attacks. His resonance skill actually starts as something called Golden Return, and it actually applies Tune Strain, which will be important for the rest of his kit. And after using certain mid-air attacks, the skill transforms into another special skill which is called Aureole of Execution. I had to check that because I cannot remember all these names. And which deals damage, reapplies the Tune Strain, and it enables something called the Golden Impale, which is an enhanced basic attack which will deal a lot of damage. By the way, his Liberation also counts as basic damage, so it's really important that we focus on this when building him. I know it sounds super complicated, but once you get into playing him, it's actually not that hard. It's just, as every other character, just feel the tune bar and it will get into another state. So it's not that hard, guys, don't worry about it. Now we have here his weapon, and I want to check this before going into his actual numbers and how much he improves it with each stuff. His weapon looks amazing, by the way. It is just a gauntlet, gives you crit rate and increases attacks, so that's generic. And after you deal basic attack damage, you gain Spectre damage bonus for the character that's using it. And you also get a bonus when inflicting the Tune Strain. It is quite strong, however, it is super specific. The 12% attack percentage, everybody can get it, so that's great, but there is no other Spectro Gauntless character that scales off basic attack. So this weapon looks amazing, right? Wrong! And why? Because fortunately enough, the game actually gave us a really strong option for Luuk. And that is the new Standard Banner Gauntlet. Again, it increases attack by 12%, the same as his weapon. It gives the same amount of crit rate, same as his weapon, and when you deal damage to targets under Tune Strain, which you're going to do quite frequently with Luuk, you gain basic attack bonus. This is literally everything that Luuk needs. Of course, his weapon is a bit better, but this means that you have a really good free-to-play option if you don't want to pull for his weapon. Since we are talking about weapons, I've seen a lot of calculations all surround around this level of power. These calculations are made by Canon, by the way, and his weapon is only an 11% better than the Standard Banner weapon. That is nothing for a main DPS. A lot of main DPSs improve about a 24 to 27% using their weapons compared to the Standard Banner one. So if I were you, I would probably invest in other thing before going for his weapon. So with him being a basic attack damage dealer, what are his best teams? And this is gonna surprise nobody, but his best team currently is Linnea and Mornia. Why? Because of the Tune Strain part of his kit. But Sadram, I did not pull for Linnea and Mornia. Or I pulled for them, but I used them with my Aemeath. What should I play? Well, one of the things that I really love about Luuk is that he is super free-to-play friendly. You actually have one of the best 4-star units in the game that actually buffs basic attack damage. And I'm talking, of course, about Sanhua. Sanhua has always been a great character. If you have a character that scales of basic attack damage, you always want to look at Sanhua because she does exactly that with her outro. Her outro buffs a 30% basic attack damage to the incoming resonator. And not only that, but she spends basically no time on field. So you can focus more on your main DPS and just put Sanhua on the field for 5 seconds and that's it. So Sanhua's an amazing option. So even though the best team is of course Luuk with Linnea and with Mornia, another really good team is gonna be Luuk with Sanhua and with Verina or with Shorekeeper or all of these characters, which makes him again a really amazing free-to-play options for those who are just starting the game and want to get a character that's gonna be strong. I would strongly recommend you to pull for Luuk if that is your case and you like him. If you're new to the game and you just want to get a strong team, but you don't have a lot of 5-star resources already. We already talked about his best teams, but how does he place in the meta? Well, here we have some of the DPSs of the best teams in the game, and as we can see, he is basically the second best DPS in the game, even while not having a perfect second slot for him. Just playing Linai, which doesn't buff the basic attack damage. And you have two teams in here in case you don't have Mornia. The version with Shorekeeper is also incredibly good. He is also easier to play than many other characters like Carithia. Not only that, but if you do not have Shorekeeper, if you do not have Mornia, and you only have Luuk and Linai, you can also play him with Sanhua, and that's gonna give great results too. But again, you don't even need that much investment. With Sanhua and Shore, you still get a really decent DPS, and with Sanhua and Verina, it is still quite playable. If you are just starting the game, probably this is the best free-to-play team that you can make, because the standard banner weapon on him is much better than the standard banner weapon is on Augusta. About the eco sets, as you could expect, his best set is gonna be the Spectro DPS set of Lahai Roy. It not only increases the basic attack damage of the character, but it also increases the Spectro damage by 30% more, which is amazing for Luuk. And if we're talking about the main eco that you're gonna be playing in the main slot, that's gonna be none other than this guy in here, because it gives Spectro damage and it gives basic attack damage bonus. So a really simple character to build. You don't really need to think that much about it. Just give it the standard banner weapon, just give it this set, just give him Sanhua or whatever character you have, and he is good to go. Lastly, I would like to talk a bit about his dupes. His first two dupes are okay, they're not that incredible. The first one is actually pretty bad, it's only about a 5 to 6% from what I've seen. The second one is a bit better, it increases up to 24%, but they are not that interesting. Luuk, to me, is a character that if you're free to play or you don't want to invest in dupes and in weapons, he is an amazing option, and his best team is incredible too. The team of Linai and Mornian is really strong, one of the best in the game. But if we get into vertical investment, that is into putting dupes for him, he does not improve as much as other characters do. Do as you wish, they are not terrible, but I would not recommend to go for them. So that's been about it. Let me guys know what you think about Luuk. To me, he is the perfect character for when you're starting and you don't have many characters. He synergizes super well with free-to-play characters like Sanhua, and at the same time, if you do have the units that synergize well with him, he is incredibly good, the second best DPS in the game. However, if you have Aemeath already and you want another super strong DPS, I would not recommend you to go for him. So if you pulled for Aemeath already, think about it twice before going for him. If you didn't and you have two characters, I would more than recommend you to go for him. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.